स्टार्ट करा, आता आपण लाईव्ह आहे.
ओके सर. कल्पने साहेब.
हा, मला काय म्हटलं?
हा, सुरुवात करू ना?
हो, करा करा आता.
ओके, थँक्यू.
लोक वाटही पाहताय तिकडे.
ओके सर, थँक्यू. गुड इव्हनिंग ऑल. शिक्षण विकास मंच यशवंतराव चव्हाण प्रतिष्ठान मुंबई and महाराष्ट्र राज्य मुख्याध्यापक महामंडळ पुणे and जिल्हा मुख्याध्यापक संघ संयुक्त विद्यमाने, in behalf of all these शिक्षण विकास मंच and headmasters Mahamandal, these online workshops has been started on 26th November, and the title of this workshop is 100 days preparation of standards in 100 days. 100 दिवसात दहावीची तयारी. This is a very symbolic name. 100 days means a limited period because we have a limited period in our hand and we have to prepare our students for the SSC examination. The background and objective of this session, the workshop, that is the poor students and the students from marginalized sectors, they have a less opportunity in these online training programs. Fortunately, the schools are reopened and some students, most of the schools are open and students and teachers are interacted with face to face. So they have a limited time, and within this 100 days, our teacher can help them creatively and cooperatively, and students can get the benefit of this 100 days. These are the 100 days are very beneficial for the students. That's why in our hand we have 100 days and we have to complete our syllabus within 100 days. That is a symbolic title. So today we are discussing about the activity sheet and how to deal with the syllabus in 100 days. So we have an expert with us, Dr. Gajendra Mugale sir. He is a BOS member. Sharad Pandhare sir, he is also a BOS member and the master trainer of a state level master trainer. Then Mrs. Varsha Ghorpade ma'am, she is master trainer of state level, and the last whole year she was expert in virtual classroom from SCRT to the remote areas in Maharashtra, but particularly in tribal areas. And in that team we have a coordinator, and that person is a very techno-savvy in the field of IT sector, Prashant Magdum sir. He is from Kolhapur and he will with us, and I am Shridhar Nagargoje with the team. So in this online session, online workshop, we will deal with activity sheet and the activities from the textbook and the syllabus. We know we have reduced 5% syllabus from our syllabus from the textbook, but remain we have only 100 days. Generally we have 220 days in the whole year. Sometimes we take extra classes in the classroom. The student gets benefit of the teachers, extra classes and all these things. But unfortunately, in this year, we don't have such type of facility for the students. Even though the period is very limited in our hand, but we can manage. It is a good thing for us, so we can do with the help of Shikshan Vikas Manch. At first, I must thankful and gratitude to the Shikshan Vikas Manch and Maharashtra Rajya Mukhyadhyapak Mahamandal and Pune Jilla Mukhyadhyapak Sangh, because they have cooperated us. They have given us opportunity to interact with us. In this session, we have 4 experts. The first session that begins with language study, and Varsha Ghorpade ma'am, she will deal with the first section, that is a language study. Sharad Pandhare sir, are you there? Pandhare
Yes
sir.
Yes sir.
Yes sir, please. Next. Please, next slide.
Hello.
Yes, Varsha ma'am.
May I continue, sir?
Wait for a few seconds.
Just okay, sir.
Next slide. Okay, thank you. We know our activity sheet, the nature of activity sheet, that is simple activities, medium level and challenging activities, because these activities can help our students to learn language easily and naturally. Next. This is a nature of our activity sheet. When you look at these all components, language study, comprehension of the textual passages, comprehension of the non-textual passages, the poems, unseen passage or non-textual passages, summary writing, writing skill and translation. When you look at all these types of activities in the activity sheet, that can help us teachers and students to get the various opportunities to learning language, because learning language is a creative thing. So we have think about all these things. So I request Varsha Ghorpade ma'am to deal with language study. Varsha Ghorpade ma'am, she is a teacher from Mahatma Gandhi Vidyalaya, Rajguru Nagar, Pune, and she is a state level trainer. And last whole year, she was with us in a virtual classroom from the SCRT to the tribal area. Over to Varsha Ghorpade ma'am.
Thank you, sir. It's a great pleasure to have an opportunity to communicate with the teachers of all over Maharashtra on this online workshop, that is how to prepare our students for SSC exam in just 100 days. All of us know that our schools were closed for last 8 months and now they are going to open. So for our teachers, this training will definitely helpful. Due to this pandemic COVID-19, we have been facing many challenges, but teachers, all of us are there to solve the problems. Remember, every problem has a solution. Before turning towards actual training, I want to remind all of us one story from Mahabharata within a minute. I'm not going to repeat it in detail, but all of us know the story of Guru Dronacharya and Eklavya in the context of Guru Dakshina. What I want to focus here is that in this story, all of us remember them, how he devoted his right thumb and how he proved to be the greatest student, greatest disciple in the world. In today's context, what I want to focus here is that even though Eklavya was denied education, he proved to be the best archer in the world. How did he acquire the skill of archery in the world? How did he acquire this skill? He acquired this skill with the help of self-study. There was nobody to help him. Self-study in Marathi, we say Swayam Adhyayan. Even though there are 100 days with us, they are not enough. So we have to motivate our students for self-study. We are going to help them with the help of such type of online workshops. And also up to now, our government has been helping them with the help of various educational apps, Diksha, educational calendar, YouTube, various videos and audios and YouTube channels, everything was there. So with the help of all these things, definitely we can motivate our students for, uh, definitely we can help them to motivate our students. So let me start with my session. Just now, we have learned the format, the nature of our activity sheet. I'm going to deal with the question of language study. Actually, there are 6 simple activities based on vocabulary and grammar with options, and students have to solve any 4 activities. In this presentation, I have explained one activity and other activities are given there for the practice. Now it's the duty of we teachers that like this presentation, all of us will give more and more sentences, more and more words for practice. So let's see the first one. Complete the words and spellings by using correct letters. In other words, fill the missing letters. Just a second. See. So in the first example, let's see, one letter is missing in every word. So what we should tell our students that the letter is missing and we have to find that letter. In the first example, P is missing. In the second one, D is missing. In the third example, O is missing. And in the fourth one, L is missing. If our students put the missing letters in the words will be campus, leech, courage, and healthy. And now we will see more examples for practice. As these examples, it's our duty to do more and more examples. I appeal the participants, the teachers, to solve these activities in the chat box. You may construct your own examples and you may also motivate your students for constructing such type of activities. If we construct such type of activities, then students will be able to solve these activities and get good marks in the exam. Now we will turn towards next activity in language study. Next activity in language study is put the following words in alphabetical order. Remember, there would be two series of words. The first series of words would begin with different letters and second would begin with same letters. Students find it very easy with the first one because the letters begin with different. So in the first series, let's see the example: scheme, fate, hope, and debut. And they can easily answer as this series begins with different letters. And the answer is debut, fate, hope, and scheme. In the next series, you should remember that all the words begin with same letters. So in such a case, we should tell our students that they should focus on the second letter. If the second letter is also same, then they should move towards the third one. In this way, they can answer the second series of words. There are more examples for practice on this slide. You can read it easily, you can take a look, and also you can take screenshot. And it's our duty to construct such type of examples. I'm telling you again and again to tell our students to form such type of activities on their own, because if they can form such type of activities, definitely they can answer also. Because topper students, they don't find it difficult, but this section is useful for the weaker students, those who find it difficult how to pass. Let's see the next activity in question 1A. The next activity is punctuate the following. There would be two sentences from the course book. Also, students find it easier because they have been solving such activities since 5th standard. Yet, they don't get complete credit because they don't pay attention to the use of quotation marks, commas, apostrophe, capitalization, full stop, question mark, and exclamation mark. If they pay attention to all these punctuation marks, they will get the marks. Now look at the easiest sentence. What's that? Said Kamal Kishore. In this sentence, apparently it looks very easy, but when you answer it, you have to be very careful. In such a simple sentence, there are 6 changes. Pay attention to it. What are they? First of all, I have taken W capital. Then there are other changes. You must have observed question mark is there, full stop is there, apostrophe S is there, inverted comma is there, and then the proper noun Kamal Kishore, it again is in capital. So you have to follow all these rules while answering the questions of punctuation. In the second example also, I don't wish to talk about it, complained the sweeper boy. Here again, you have to repeat the same things as I told you earlier. My appeal is again to form such type of sentences. In the next slide, there are more examples for punctuation marks. For punctuation or punctuate the following, you should prefer the two text more because there are more examples in direct speech, such as the boy who broke the bank and a lesson in life from a beggar by Sudhamurti, because in these lessons there are more dialogues, so it will be beneficial for students to have more practice. Now, activity number 4. What is this activity? Make 4 meaningful words, minimum of 3 letters in the given word. Here, the example is contemplating. Students may not know the meaning. Doesn't matter. What we should tell them to form new words. But remember the condition. Each and every letter should be of minimum 3 letters. Because even the topper students, they are in hurry. And what do? They write on, they write it, and. So these examples would be wrong. So what would be the correct answer? The correct answer is come, note, plate, net. Actually, we can make many more words, gate, 10, like this, but not necessary. You are expected to write 4 words. If you write 4 words, you will get 2 marks. Now, I am watching that in chat box, many teachers, they are writing examples. You are giving nice response to us by typing sentences, by typing examples for language study section. Here, more examples are there. Investigation, unbeatable, grandmother, environment. You can give such type of words and tell the students to do more and more words from this. Practice will definitely help them. Now, activity number 5. Write the related words and any one. Look at the examples carefully. While answering this activity, student should take into consideration the relation between the words. Sometimes there is a relation of noun adjective. Sometimes there is a relation of verb adverb. Sometimes there is a relation of noun and verb. It's our duty to tell our students to be careful because students generally write any word as they think suitable to water. Here, the word cool is given. That means there is a relation of adjective and noun. So it's expected that in the blank spaces, students should write other adjectives such as hot water, pure, clean, dirty. So it's important to take into consideration the relation between these two words. In the examples, I have given more words for practice. You can see it. Let's see more examples. Purposely, I have taken the example of water again because in the first example, we see cool water. Now in the second example, I have taken drink water. So that means here relation between water and drink is verb and noun. So cool and hot will not go here. They have to write another verbs such as boil water. They may write sprinkle water. There are many more examples they can write. Give water, like this. In the next example, there is a relation between happy and family. That means adjective and noun, happy family. So you may write the answers in the chat box, and in the same way, it's our duty to motivate our students to tell them to write exact word. Happy family. What will be the answers? The answer will be nice family, good family, rich family. Now, these are again different examples. In these examples, See, walk slowly. What is the relation between these two words? There is a relation of verb and adverb. What is this relation, verb and adverb? So obviously you have to write other adverbs that go with walk. So walk slowly, walk neatly, walk fast, walk carefully, like this. Again, there is an example of school and famous. There is repetition of adjective and noun. So while solving this activity, while teaching to students what you can tell, please take into consideration the relation between these two words. Once the student understood the relation, they will easily answer this activity. Give more and more practice to your students so that they will easily get marks. Now, in the next activity, there is a question. Complete the word chain of nouns. Add four words, each beginning with the last letter of the previous word. Now, before my appeal, people have started typing. I can see on the screen that they have started typing the nouns. But my purpose is to tell your students that while answering question, please tell them the example of Antakshari. While playing Antakshari, how do they write or how do they sing songs with the last letter of that song? In the same way, we have to start the new word with the last letter. Here in the example, road, we have to write doll, lamb, parrot, and tiger. But remember, instead of doll, if the students write drive, if the students write drink, it will be wrong because I have written the word noun in different color in order to focus that students should understand it is not just the word chain, it is the word chain of nouns. So take into consideration which thing is asked. Nouns, if it is nouns, then you have to answer in the form of nouns only. Sometimes they may ask you the word chain of adjectives. Sometimes they may ask you the word chain of verbs. So whatever is asked, students should be very careful while answering this question. Here I have given more examples. There is an example of nature. You may type the answers in the chat box. You may also motivate your students in the same way. I have given you more examples for practice. There, they may ask you the word chain of nouns, adjectives, and verbs. Remember one thing, I want to tell you that for the practice of our students, give them the exercise such as make the list of nouns and tell them to make the list of nouns, adjectives, and verbs alphabetically so that it will be helpful to them while solving both the activities, activity number 5 and activity number 6. Because if they will have the list with them, then they can easily remember while answering such type of activities. So after this activity, I am going towards the next one, which is little bit challenging. Do as directed. Make a meaningful sentence by using the phrase an epitome of. For this activity, you have to tell them that all the words and phrases are there from the textbook only. So students should go through the textbook carefully. What is the meaning of this phrase, an epitome of? That means be the perfect example of something. Sometimes you have to tell them in Marathi also, such type of phrases. For example, an epitome of means be the perfect example of something. In Marathi, एखाद्या गोष्टीचं मूर्तिमंत उदाहरण असणं. So Stephen Hawking was an epitome of courage. We can give more and more examples for students for their practice. And you can tell them to make the list of such phrases in their notebook so that it will be helpful to them for getting good marks. In this activity, there is an option. What is this option? This option is add a clause to the following sentence to expand it meaningfully. The students are afraid of the word clause. So withdraw the fear from their mind. Tell them in simple language that clause is nothing but a sentence. At present, they need not go in the details what type of a clause it is, whether it is adjective, noun, or adverb clause. No. Here, what we have to do, just expand the sentence. Those who are toppers, they can easily expand it. But those who are weaker, for the weaker students, we can tell them that for expanding the sentence, they have to take the help of correlative pronouns. Which are they? The correlative pronouns are what, that, which, who. In this example, this is the school where I studied up to 10th class. That means tell our students that with the help of this correlative pronoun where, you have expanded the sentence. No need to go in the detail of which clause it is. What it is expected here, only to expand the sentence meaningfully. And for expansion, tell them to take the help of correlative pronouns. Somebody will write, this is the school which is very famous. Doesn't matter. Only single answer is not at all expected. Various answers may be correct. And we have to give them full credit if they solve this activity in such a way. More examples are seen on the screen, right? So give more and more practice to your students and motivate them more and more. Now we are moving towards the last activity of this session. Add prefix or suffix to make new words. Add prefix or suffix. So for this activity, we should tell them what is a suffix and what is a prefix. So prefix means the word added to the word in the beginning, and suffix means the word that is added at the end, right? So in this sentence, sensitive, what is the answer? If you add in, it will be insensitive, right? And able, if you add un, it will be unable. So this is your answer, insensitive and unable. More examples, wise, happy, possible, educate. You can give number of examples to students and students will easily solve this activity. If students will get good opportunity if you give them more and more practice. So next option for this question is, what is the next option? We will see in the next slide. Again, this question is related to suffix and prefix. Even of the following words, same words from 2A, sensitive and able. She is very sensitive. They may write, he is able to drive a car. I am able to speak English. Number of examples they can write. There are more examples I have given here. Wise, happy, possible, educate. But remember, the same words will be asked from 2A for 2B. For this activity, we have to make them ready with the more examples. Now, I'm going to conclude my session with the quotation that teaching is artificial and learning is natural. That means learning has been going on there since our students, give them more and more. Thank you and thanks for the cooperation.
Thank you, Varsha ma'am, for excellent presentation within a time. We know we have a very short amount of time in our hand, but you have done it very well. Only one question is there, asked by Anjali Sirsi ma'am from Solapur. Some students may ask this question in the classroom also. Uh, if there is a word chain of noun,
Huh?
some students write the proper nouns. This is a question is asked by Anjali ma'am. Unfortunately, Sahib Rao Mahajan has given answer in our chat box.
Very nice.
Thank you,
Very
Mahajan
nice.
sir.
Hmm.
Yes, because if our students are writing the proper nouns, the objective of this activity will be spoiled.
Exactly.
Because-
Common nouns are expected, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Prashant Magdum sir. Prashant sir,
Yes, sir.
are you there? Yes, sir. Is there any question on YouTube Live?
No,
You may
sir.
ask.
No, sir. No any question on YouTube. Some answers are only there.
Okay. Varsha ma'am, it's a very wonderful session because all of the responses are your answers are there. And
Thank
your
you, sir.
presentation is very open-ended. So all the participants, they have participated in that you call through their activity and active participation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
think this is a good example of the presentation of language study. Dear friends, the language studies activities are very useful to develop their language ability, because these activities are not only for the testing their knowledge, but these are the techniques of developing vocabulary and developing their language study skills. So our next session is textual passages. And in this session, Dr. Gajendra Mugale sir will deal with reading skills, vocabulary and grammar. Dr. Gajendra Mugale sir is a member of Board of Studies, Bal Bharati, and he is a member of that reduction committee. He is a member of the scrutiny committee in SSC board to framing syllabus and to framing activity sheet. And one more thing for him, because he has awarded PhD in very that you call his young age, and he is one of the innovative teacher in our states, and he has presented his research paper in various national and international conferences. So welcome, Gajendra Mugale sir, and over to you. Please
Thank you very much.
start your session.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, respected Nagargoje sir. As earlier, you have seen how to deal with language study, that is section first, which is presented by our madam. Now, I am going to deal with section 2, that is textual passages. As you know that this section has 20 marks in our activity sheet, particularly question number 2A and B. These questions are related with textual passages. 2 passages are asked for comprehension. So each passage has 10 marks. Now we have only 100 periods in our hand due to this COVID-19 pandemic situation. Now it is a question before we all of teachers that how to complete our syllabus, how to make students understand each and every text, each and every chapter. That is the most important question before us. Now, if we see that in our course book, there are total 14 texts or chapters. But for this year only, 3 chapters, particularly from last unit, are reduced. The reduced chapters are 4.2 Bholi, 4.5 Joan of Arc, and 4.6 A Brave Heart, dedicated to science and humanity. Though these 3 chapters are reduced, but we have to take their warming up activities. Some of the activities from English workshop, activities like related with writing skill. Remember this. If these 3 chapters are reduced, it means we don't have to open these 3 chapters. It is not a thing. Some of the activities we have to complete. If these 3 chapters are reduced for this, out of 14 chapters, 11 chapters we have to learn, we have to complete. Now, how to complete those 11 chapters, though there are 100 periods in our hand, out of those 100 periods, only we have to give 22 to 30 periods for completing those 11 chapters. It means 2 or 3 periods for one chapter we can give. Now, how should we complete one chapter or one text in all ways by completing all activities in 2 to 3 chapters? That is the main thing. Now, what we have to do? Okay, now I am going to tell you a plan. If you follow that plan, you can complete the chapter in all dimensions, and we can prepare our students as a language and for exam also. Before starting our first period, before one day, we have to produce some of the things, we have to give, we have to make available some of the things for our students. Things like some of the videos related to that chapter which are available on YouTube, or maybe videos prepared by you teachers by yourself. The most important thing is that very quality material is available on Diksha app, which is prepared by NCERT. Those apps are very useful for students' self-learning also. If we make them available, such types of videos available on YouTube, Diksha app, or your self-prepared videos, or sometimes maybe audio CDs, educational calendars are also available. Or if you tell your students to go through that chapter by reading once or twice, and with the help of those videos, it will become very easy for your students to understand that chapter before the beginning of your first period for that particular chapter. Okay. And if we tell them to complete warming up activities as possible for them, some of the margin activities and some of the activities which are easy and available in English workshop, what will happen before starting that chapter? Students prepare themselves. Students prepare themselves and be ready. They are ready for us to start that chapter. Before starting that chapter, they are ready. That is the first plan. Then next, when we start our first period to that chapter, what we have to do? We have to, next slide, we have to explain. We teacher have to explain that text in brief. Already they are prepared, no doubt. If we teachers explain that text in a brief in front of student in rural area, now face-to-face periods are available. In urban area, due to pandemic, we can take help of online classes. And if we explain that text in brief in front of students, or we can tell them the central ideas or the type of the text, it means if we tell them the gist of the chapter, what will happen? They can clearly understand the central idea of that chapter. Okay. And while telling the in brief, while telling the gist or the central idea, what will happen? That listening will be complete, They can read themselves also. We can communicate with them, and even we can complete language study skills also. It means we can touch, we can make available for their things available for their listening, reading, communication, and even language study also. Okay, it means we not only have to prepare our student for only exam oriented, we have to develop our English language among them. For that, we have to give for these points the first period. Now, what you teacher have to do in the second period? Okay, you have to take at least one passage for comprehension as an example. As you know, there are 5 activities: A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5 are asked on that particular chapter, as we have to make them to know that A1 is simple factual activity, A2 is complex factual activity, A3 is vocabulary related activity, A4 is grammar activity, and A5 is personal response question activity. And if we can solve one passage for comprehension with the help of students in front of students, what will happen? The listening will be there. They can go through the passage, they can write, they can communicate with us. Even we can solve different kinds of activities also. And after taking one passage as an example, if we provide them 2 to 3 passages, or if we ask them to complete the activities given by you teacher to complete by the students by themselves as a homework, what will happen? They can solve 2 to 3 or 4 passages from that particular lesson. Even with they can solve margin activities also. And what you have to do in the third period, you teacher have to tell your students to come up with their doubts. If they have any doubts particularly related to that chapter, they will come up in the third period, and we teacher have to clear their doubts. Okay, even we have to check their feedbacks, as in second period what we have given as their homework, we have to check it also. And even whether we have to check whether they have completed English workshop activities, what are their problems, and it will be better to prepare our students for personal response questions by giving each day 1 or 2, or if possible 2 or 3 personal response questions. If we give them those questions, they will come up with their different answers in the next day. Then what will happen? Within 100 days, they will complete by their own, with the help of we teacher, with the help of others also. They can complete more than 200 personal response questions. Then it will be better for them to go for the final exam. And we have to complete those things. Then what will happen? Already we have completed warming up activities, activities given in the margin, activities they have already gone through the text. Already we have given them central idea or the gist of the lesson. We have completed the English workshop activities and the passages for practice. Then in all way, they will be prepared themselves to solve textual passages, means passages from the course book. If we follow these ideas for each chapter, 2 or 3 periods, then we can complete all 11 chapters in our course book for this year within 22, maximum 30 periods, in 30 periods. Okay, that's the main thing we all teacher have to remember. Then we have to explain students the pattern of the activity sheet. particularly the different kinds of activities, even simple factual activities. What will be there in simple factual activities? Activities like true, false, agree, disagree, complete the sentences, right or wrong. Such kinds of simple factual activities, variety of activities can be asked in our final exam for 2 marks. Next, complex factual activity A2. Then we have to tell our students the answer of that kind of question is scattered in the passage. They have to not only scheme but scan and collect that scattered answer and write it in their answer sheet. So what kind of questions will be asked? Questions like beginning with describe or explain, or maybe questions starting with WH, or maybe sometimes arrange the sentences occurred in occurred in the passage. It means to arrange it in sequence. Okay, we have to prepare for our students. Third one, A3, is activities based on vocabulary. If we before make our student habitual about the difficult words which occurred in each chapter, with the help of dictionary, with the help of you teacher, they will be self-prepared. Okay, we have to just give some of the ideas to them. Lot more students have to do by their own. If we provide something, they will do more than that. That is the main thing we have to follow in this year. Okay, activities like synonyms, antonyms, finding adjectives, and different kinds of activities are asked in such kinds of question. Then A4 is activities based on contextual grammar. We have to tell our students to find different kinds of grammatical sentences came in each passage, maybe related with change the voice, question tag, affirmative negative, direct indirect, exclamatory assertive, with the help of we teacher, with the help of different medias and different people, they can find a number of sentences related to different grammatical activities in each chapter. They will collect in their notebooks. It will be helpful for them to be prepared for the final exam. Now, A5 is personal response activity. As earlier, I have already said that if we take 1 or 2 or maybe 2 or 3 personal response questions per day, each day, then they will be prepared very much strongly for the final exam. Only we have to focus that students have to follow the tense pattern used in the personal response question. Their responses should be grammatically correct. Okay, they have to use their own language in their own words. That is the main thing we have to prepare our students for the exam. Just for example, if we take one passage in the next slide, the passage is here. The passage is, my father was a medical professional, dash, 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 dash. Okay, the passage is from an encounter of special kind. एक अविस्मरणीय चकमक असं त्या चॅप्टरचं नाव आहे. Okay, if already we have told them, our students, that this story, an encounter of special kind, the story by Tapan Mukherjee about a young boy who rescued, who nursed and saved a baby langur attacked by a dominant male langur with intent to kill it. The story tells the bond of trust and mutual understanding between man and animal. Okay, if we tell them the central idea, if already they have prepared while reading that paragraph, not only once but twice, okay, silently with full understanding, they can easily solve A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5 activities. For example, here in A1, complete the following sentences. The writer's house was in. They can easily find the answer of that incomplete sentence in the paragraph, as the answer is the writer's house was in a corner of the campus. We have to tell our students to fill the blank by rewriting that sentence once again in the exam. Okay, only writing the blanks will not be credited, sometimes the full credit. Okay, next, the officers club was in dash dash dash. In the officers club was adjacent to the boundary wall of our garden. Okay, number 3 is it was a few days into dash dash dash. Participant can write the answers of those questions in chat box also. Into the puja vacation. Next one is a group of langurs had made their den in dash dash dash. At the end of the paragraph, the answer is there in Aswatha tree nearby. Let us see what is the A2 question. Describe the compound and kitchen gardens of the writer and the household. So the answer is scattered here in the given 18 to 20 line passage. The correct answer is, next slide, the correct answer is the compound was luxurious with green grass, colorful flowers, and a host of tall and majestic trees. There were seasonal vegetables in the kitchen gardens of the households, and also some magnificent trees that constantly attracted the squirrels and many species of birds. A group of langurs had even made their den in an aswatha tree. That is the scattered answer students have to write. Now, if we see the A3 activity, match the synonyms. In column A, some words are given there. We have to find answers or synonyms from column B. Revealed, new factor, occupied in, and chance. And here, in a random way, their answers are there. Here, opportunity, engrossed in, new dimension, unfolded. If we think about revealed, we can clearly understand unfolded. New factor, new dimension. Occupied in, engrossed in. Chance, opportunity. Now, if we see the A4 grammar related activity to as directed, the first one is the compound was luxurious with green grass. Choose the correct question tag. 4 options are given here. First one is doesn't it, second one does it, third one wasn't it, and fourth one was it. The correct answer, as everybody know, that wasn't it. If the given sentence is in affirmative form, their question tag is in negative. The second one is the writer's house was in a corner of the campus, and the instruction is make WH question to get underlined part as an answer. We have to remember that in a corner of the campus should be the answer of our framed question. Then what will be the question? Where was the writer's house? Question mark. Okay. And the A5 last activity is personal response question. Do you like to live in a bungalow? Question mark. Why? It means 2 parts are here. If students give the response of first part, then half credit. It means if 2 marks are here, then 1 mark should be for first question and 1 mark is for second question. If we take one more example as a practice, we can see it in second slide. Next slide. That passage is from a lesson in life from a beggar. Okay. So different kinds of activities we can see. Just for a look, complete the following table. Utterances are given here. Who said to whom? Okay, students have to go through the passage not only once but twice silently with full understanding, they can easily write the responses. Who said and to whom said. Okay, if we take the next activity, A2 is, what is A2 activity here? Why would Meena be sad initially? Give reasons. There are 4-5 reasons. As Meena was pessimistic, then those responses we have to find out, so that it can be clearly seen that why Meena was sad initially. And the A3 is, next slide, A3 is find antonyms of the following words from the passage. Here antonyms are asked. Students have to find out the antonyms of the given words from the passage. Optimistic, pleasant, ugly, and remember. They can easily find it. And here in grammar, direct, indirect speech, the activity related to make indirect speech is, the question is asked. Next one is to make negative, and the personal response is, would you avoid your friend if you are meeting him or her after a long time? Why? The answer for first question in personal response, half credit, and for why, for giving reason, half credit. Okay, half means 1 mark for half question, 1 mark for remaining half question. Now, what we can take from my session? Okay, how to complete 11 chapters within 22 to 30 days. That is the main thing, as earlier I have said. If we provide our students daily one passage for comprehension as a practice, they will be in touch with the textual passages. They can understand again and again. They can remind again and again the gist of the passage. They can understand different kinds of activities. They can be more practicable to go for the exam. Okay, one or two personal responses questions. Okay, now it will also make them to be prepared. Gist, sometimes we can ask our students to tell the gist of one of the lesson to us. It will make students to be prepared for each and every chapter. If we arrange for our students a weekly test of 10 to 20 marks, then based on textual passages, then it will be also helpful for students to keep in touch with our course book and the activities about textual passages. So in this way, we can prepare our students to develop English as a language and to go confidently for the SSC final exam. So this is all about from my session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gajendra Mugale, sir. Very tough and very challenging task for us, all the teachers. So how to cover the 11 chapters, because chapters are very, that you call longer and broaded. And how can we give the gist and to teach the all chapters within a few days? But you have given very exact timetable. So thank you. Sir, one question for us. Please give the answer of this question. Many students didn't get full credit in a personal response. How can they cover it?
As earlier I have told that if we give some clear-cut ideas for our students that in which tense the question is asked, think about that tense pattern at first. We have to tell our students, by following that tense, students have to use simple words. Okay, don't think about the lengthy sentences, long sentences, so to impress our examiners or moderators. No need to think about it. If they can write in short sentences the correct answer in correct tense, grammatically correct, effectively, if sometimes they can write that answer in 2, 3, 4 points also, it will be more impressive for the examiner to see it. And as earlier I have told that 2 or 3 questions, or if possible, not possible that much, 1 or 2 example of personal response question. What I do in my school, I will tell in 30 seconds. I give 1 or 2, means 2 personal response questions for students. Okay, 100 pages, special notebook they have to write for writing that personal response questions. And by taking daily 2 questions in our communicative pattern, they will be more prepared for the personal response question. Not only for the personal response question, but for writing skill also. It will be in touch with writing skill, how to prepare our own sentences, how to respond. I think it will be helpful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So you have given very best example of your own. That
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
because if our students are familiar with 100 questions and their responses, so near
Yeah.
about they have to write 400 lines in personal response, and this is the beginning of writing skill. Thank you for presenting your session within a time. So we are moving for the third session, that is a poetry section and non-textual passage and summary writing. I welcome Mr. Sharad Pandhare, sir, who is a member of Board of Studies Bal Bharti. We know Sharad Pandhare, sir, is innovative teacher, and some days back, he was in charge of project officer in tribal department. So he has done his role as a teacher and as administrator. One more introduction of Sharad Pandhare, sir. He is a well-known poet, a good orator and motivational speaker. So welcome Sharad Pandhare, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And interact with us. Over to Sharad Pandhare, sir.
Okay. So welcome one and all. We are going to begin this session with a very famous quote by William Wordsworth. As my topic is poetry and non-textual passages and summary writing. So before starting this session, I can't stop reciting or telling this quote. He said that poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings recollected in tranquility. म्हणजे कविता म्हणजे शांततेमध्ये आठवलेल्या मानवी भावनांचा उत्स्फूर्त आविष्कार. So poetry what makes the poetry different from the prose is rhythm, rhyme, then figures of speech, imagery, that makes the poetry different from the prose. While dealing with the poetry, we have to concentrate on the surface meaning. At the same time, we have to think about the deeper meaning that is there in the poem. The tone, moods.
Sharad, sir, any problem?
Yes, let me share the slide.
Yeah. Yes, sir, you're right.
Yes.
Continue, sir.
Yes, the surface meaning and the deeper meaning are very important. At the same time, we have to concentrate towards the tone, moods, and theme of the poem. Actually, the poetry is meant for enjoyment, motivation, and appreciation. The poetry also arouses the aesthetic sense. And some number of poems, they play a very important role in famous speeches and all that. So number of quotations that we use, they are from the poems. Now, in this, as far as 10th standard is concerned, the question number 3, A is there for poem, for one poem there will be there for comprehension and another poem will be there for appreciation. Both the poems will carry 5 marks. So when we deal with the poetry section, we have 7 poems for this academic year. One last poem that is reduced from the syllabus, that is Oh Captain, My Captain. Now the very first poem is there, A Teenager's Prayer, written by J. Morse. A very motivational poem. At the same time, this poem, there is a speaker or a teenager expresses his strong desire about how he wants to lead his or her teenage years. It's about the teenager's dilemma about making the right decisions. That is why he prays the God to guide him and in his journey of life, so that he will be able to take the right decisions which will help him to lead the happy and successful life. So this poem is like that. In this poem, we have the apostrophe figure of speech where the child or the teenager, he talks to the God. He refers to God. So actually God is not present over there. So this is first poem. Then second poem is there, Basketful of Moonlight, written by Sunil Sharma. This poem, once again here in this poem, a child is there. The child's intense desire to have the company of his father. Actually, because of a number of obstacles are there in the path of his, his father's path, or in his father's way. His father is not able to return early in the evening, so that whenever the father comes home, that time the child is sleeping, and when the that is why the child, it requests the moon to give him moonlight so that he can lighten the road. Actually, in this poem, the lack of development in the that is the major problems which are there in the rural area. They don't have the basic facilities like electricity and transportation that the child want to highlight over here. Through the child, that problems are highlighted. The child is so innocent that it requests the moon to give him the seeds of moonlight so that he can sow that. So this poem, there is no rhyme scheme in the poem. It's written in the pre-verse form. Then another poem is there, You Start Dying Slowly. In this poem, the poet tells us that how we should lead the life, or in order to live an experience life in a real sense, you must enrich yourself with the new knowledge, wide experiences, fresh emotions, daring encounters, and exciting challenges. So all these things are important. Life is not a stagnant one. So it goes on moving or goes on changing. So that is why you should able to adopt the changes, and you should change yourself accordingly. And if you will not change, your condition will be just like as Darwin said in his theory, the survival of the fittest. Even the mighty animal like dinosaur, it diminished, or it as far as the time changed, dinosaur is not available right now. So this is what applicable to our life also. Now another poem is there, The Twins. The Twins is a situation, we find the situational irony over here. This poem is written in a lighter vein to amuse the readers. Actually, the poet uses extreme exaggeration to achieve this effect. The humor is caused by two identical twins. So that is quite crucial, that these two twins are there, and how that it caused the fun and humor that is highlighted in this poem. Then another poem is the If poem, written by Rudyard Kipling. Actually, he was the famous author of the Mowgli's Jungle Book. So certain valuable pieces of advice are given by the father to his son that are there in this poem. If the son fulfills certain conditions, he can be rest assured of certain favorable results. Repetition of words if, that is the anaphora used by the poet, both conditions and the results have direct bearing upon the lives of young people. That is reflected through this poem. Actually, this poem is a kind of, it's a didactic poem. It's a advice to the son given by the father. Then another poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, is a very famous poet written by, a world famous poet, American poet, Robert Frost. So this poem describes the single incident that happened during the winter evening. And now through this poem, the speaker was very much fascinated by, the scenic beauty of the woods. And but the concerns of the practical life that urge him to move on. There are so many temptations in our life, so we have to overcome these temptations and in order to achieve our goal. So that is the thing that poet wants to tell here. He in this poem we have very different kind of rhyme scheme. Actually, the rhyme scheme and the meaning and theme of the poem, it has the close resemblance or the association. The rhyme scheme is AABA, BBCB, CCDC, and last stanza is DDDD. Actually, initial three stanzas, the poet, or the speaker is there. He wants to, he falls prey to the temptation or he was fascinated by the beauty of that particular woods. But at the same time, there was someone is there to, remind him, and that was the horse. It was giving the harness bell, ringing the harness bell. But in the last stanza, he comes to know that, no, I have not to, I should not stop here. And that is why the last stanza is very crucial one. And it has the DDDD rhyme scheme. The stanza is like this: woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Now this stanza, it can be also used as a quotation in speech writing and in other instances. So very interesting poem that that tells the students to the overcome this condition that is right now they are facing. Then another poem is there, The World Is Mine. In that poem, you must count your blessings rather than complaining about things that you lack. म्हणजे आपल्याकडे असणाऱ्या गोष्टी फार महत्वाच्या आहेत. आपण बऱ्याचदा ब्लेम करत राहतो की हे माझ्याकडे नाहीये, ते माझ्याकडे नाहीये. आता कोविड-19च्या कंडिशनने आपल्याला दाखवून दिले की आपल्याकडे काय आहे ते महत्वाचं आहे. काय नव्हतं त्याचा आता कोणी विचार करत नाही. तर अतिशय या सिच्युएशनला आपल्याला ती ओव्हरकम करण्यासाठी this very interesting poem that we have, and that is The World Is Mine, written by Joy Crawford. So these poems are there. Last poem is there, Oh Captain, My Captain, written by Walt Whitman, but it is reduced from this year's syllabus. Next year it will be there. Friends, poem for comprehension will be asked for 5 marks. In that, simple factual activity will be asked for 2 marks. Then complex factual activity, it will be asked for 2 marks, and poetic devices will be asked for 1 mark. In simple factual activity, choose the correct alternative and complete the sentence. Then true or false, right or wrong, agree or disagree, match the columns, and complete the web. This kind of activities will be asked in the simple factual activity. Then complex factual activity is there. In that, complete the following, complete the web, match the columns, then choose the correct alternative. Then maybe the WH questions can be asked in this complex factual activity. Then as far as the poetic devices are concerned, identify the poetic devices used in the poem. This can be asked. Rhyme scheme or the rhyming words, and the figures of speech may be asked in this in this topic. And that is why it is necessary that we have to um, see this rhyme scheme, and as far as the figures of speech are concerned, we should go through all the figures of speech. And so that is quite essential for as far as the comprehension of the poem is concerned. Now we'll proceed toward the appreciation of the poem. It will be asked for 5 marks. Students should write the appreciation of the given poem in the given points in a point format. So title will carry half mark. Then name of the poet, it will be for half mark. Rhyme scheme will be asked for 1 mark. Figures of speech, any one you have to write, that is for 1 mark. And theme or central idea, at least 2 to 3 sentences or lines, or sentences, that will be asked for 2 marks. So this way you have to appreciate the poem. Actually, the full textual poem along with the points will be given for appreciation. Students will be familiar with this poems, and the points given for the appreciation. So before going, or before appearing for the examination, we have 14 weeks actually when we bifurcate the 100 days. So 14 weeks will be there. So at least 2 days will be there dedicated to for one particular poem. So we can cover that all the poems, tell them to read it first of all, tell them to mark out the and figure of speech, then rhyme scheme, then write the appreciation of the in the point format, then tell the students to write the appreciation of the 7 poems on the paper and practice them regularly. So at least 1 poem should be practiced in a week. So that is expected. Cover all the poems in the class and throw some more light on the deeper meaning given in the poem. At the same time, these all poems are very motivational one. We can give them full exposure so that the children can lead their life accordingly. Then suggest or provide them the YouTube links that are available. Number of YouTube videos are available about every poem. So before coming to the class, or in a week, at least 1 poem should be seen. Then create a Google form for practice or self-evaluation. That is very essential. So now Google form also can be created, like first of all, initial introductory part of the poem can be given. Then one video can be inserted in that. So after listening to that video and after going through the poem, the students can write the answers over there, and they can practice and do the self-evaluation, so that all the 7 poems can be covered. Then we are going to take one example of how to write the appreciation of the poem. Actually, all of you are well aware of it. The title of the poem is "You Start Dying Slowly." The poet's name is Pablo Neruda. The rhyme scheme, pre-verse, or there is no rhyme scheme in the poem. The poem is written in pre-verse. If the students are going to write the name, doesn't matter, we have to accept that. Then figures of speech, if the students are going to write the name of that particular figure of speech, we have to accept. But it will be better that they will write the explanation of it, or give one example of the same figure of speech. So anaphora is the figure of speech, a repetition of the word "if you do not" at the beginning of the first 3 lines, they're repeated. So that is why it is anaphora. Actually, other figures of speech are also there, but predominant figure of speech is there, that is anaphora. One more figure of speech is there, that is refrain. So concluding line of that particular poem is repeated again and again. It is also applicable to the world is mine. In that poem also, the same line is repeated at the end of the stanza. Then theme of the poem, the students are expected to write the theme of the poem within 2 to 3 sentences. The central idea of the poem is how you should lead your life and all that I already discussed. So this way they have to write the theme of the poem. Here is the appreciation of another poem, The Teenager's Prayer, is written over here. So here we have the ABCB rhyme scheme. I'm just going to take this in a fast mode so that actually it is already covered in the previous one. So this way you have to write the theme of the poem. Now, very interesting one. Now, how to, one mind map will be there in front of you, or one chart will be there in front of the students, that within a span of, within one look, the students will be able to, understand or, remember the rhyme scheme as well as the poet's name, the title of the poem. So all the rhyme schemes are given over here. Just like that, we have to give the rhyme scheme. Actually, the rhyme scheme of The World Is Mine, that once again you have to check, because this year better you refer this year's copy so that it will be cleared. So these are the examples that we can give to our students, or tell them to write the rhyme scheme as well as the figures of speech in such a table format, so that they can remember it in a better way. So figures of speech also can be written like that. So it will be helpful to students so that they can recall it, and at the same time, while giving the figures of speech, tell them to remember the examples with that. Here are some of the predominant figures of speech that I have written. Alliteration and other figures of speech, they are common, unless the children what they use, what they do, actually they write figure of speech alliteration to everywhere, and they will score the marks. But it is not important that the idea of figure of speech, it should be there. They should be able to leave the poem. Actually, म्हणजे poem kavita ही जगता आली पाहिजे त्यांना. They should know the depth of knowledge, because in the last C question it will be asked. So that is why it is better for preparation. Then theme of the poems also should be written like this in a chart format, so that the students will they can remember it and they can learn it in a better way. Now we'll proceed towards the non-textual passage. Non-textual passages for comprehension. Again, the structure of the activities will be same like the scene passages. So we'll not discuss that in a detail. Summary of the non-textual passage. The aim of summary of the passage is to enable the students to understand the main points and express them in language, in their own language, in short. The student should be able to read the given passage and they can understand it. Suggesting the title is mandatory while summarizing the unseen passage or non-textual passage. The student should express the theme or gist of the poem, or sorry, of the passage in his own words, so that the student should be able to use the appropriate vocabulary, grammar, then language while summarizing. So these are some of the things that the students should keep in mind. And being the teachers and being the parents, we should tell them that what are the do's and what are the don'ts of summarizing. The students should avoid the exact repetition of the sentences that are given in the unseen passage. Then summarizing, he or she should not express his own opinions. That is the thing that the student should remember. So we have to tell them that these are some of the things that they should remember. Then how the marks are distributed. Suggest or write a title, it will be for 1 mark. Central idea or the theme, it will be for 2 marks. Then use of appropriate language, it will be asked for 2 marks. So this way the 5 marks will be distributed. Actually, the non-textual passage for comprehension, it will be for 10 marks, and summary is for 5 marks. Usually the non-textual passages related, the word limit is near about 120 to 130 words that will be asked. Then usually they are taken from the students' magazines or stories and newspapers, etc. So that is why the students should refer these other books also. And being the teachers, we should provide them whether by using the virtual media or when the classes will be conducted, that time we have to provide them activities just like the scene passages are asked for comprehension. So these are some of the things. Topics like pandemic, environment, weather, then some of the pieces of biography of the famous personalities, then topics on social issues, etc. are asked for testing as far as the non-textual passage is concerned. So other topics also can be asked over here. The main thing is there that the child should, or the student should, understand and use the English in the unfamiliar situation. So that is the basic purpose of summarizing. So these are some of the things that we have to concentrate. So at least one poem in a week and at least one non-textual passage along with the summary writing that should be conducted in the classroom, and this activity should be given to the students, whether the WhatsApp is available or any other media that you have to utilize. So these are some of the things. This way, if you give practice to the students, then it will be ample practice, and students can face examination with confidence and with full zeal and enthusiasm. So I hope now if you have any doubts, sir, any doubts are there?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Sharad sir. It's a great pleasure for us to learn poetry from the poet.
Yeah, thank you.
So one question for the poetry writing. So can students write central idea of the poem in their own simple language?
Yes, exactly. The students, they are free to write, the theme or the central idea in their own words. Actually, what one or two examples I have given, it is only for the demo, but students are free to write the central idea in their own language.
Okay, thank you, sir. Before moving to the next session, we have two questions. One question for Dr. Mugale, sir. Prashantji.
Yes, sir.
Gajendra Mugale, sir. Yes, sir. Question is for you. What teachers need to do for slow learners to make them active to personal response questions? Some students are the slow learners, they are not able to write effectively in personal response. So what can you give some tips or suggestions for the friends for slow learners?
I think no need to repeat. Okay. I think as earlier, for making for preparing students for giving the answer of personal response question, what the things I have already told in my session, the same thing should be followed for slow learners also. Okay. If we try to bring them in the stream of that practice again and again, with the help of lot more practice, we can move them to make them to write the answer of that personal response question. That is from my side.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, some questions for Sharad Pandhare, sir.
Yes, sir.
Related to poetry. Is it necessary to give example of figure of speech?
If students are going to write, only the name of that particular figure of speech, it's all right, we can accept that. But it will be better, and the presentation will be better if they are going to, write the, the examples also along with that.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Next question is, if rhyming schemes are different in the same poem in different stanzas, which rhyming scheme should be written by the students?
If the, as far as the appreciation is concerned, they should write the rhyme scheme of the entire poem. because whole poem will be there in front of them, so they have to write that.
Next question is students.
Certain poems are there, just like sir, 1 minute.
Yes.
The first poem is there. It has ABCB rhyme scheme, so the students can write the rhyme scheme of the poem is ABCB, and otherwise rest of other poem they have to write the complete rhyme scheme.
Okay, sir. Next
Yes, sir.
question. Next question is related to summary writing. Many students only omit some lines and write it as a summary. Can they get credit?
They won't get full credit for that. But if the students are going to write something over there, we should accept their responses. But as it is, you should not give the full credit to that. Accordingly, what they have written, the examiner, they have to consider.
Yes. Next question is how we can teach slow learners to write central theme of the poem.
You can while constructing the sentences or while framing that answer. That is why I have given some of the demo themes and central ideas over here, so that it will be helpful to the students or the slow learners who don't have they don't know how to write the theme of that particular poem. So certain guidelines should be given by the teachers over there.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All these questions from YouTube.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sharad sir.
Now we'll proceed towards the
Sharad,
next
sir.
session.
Now,
Yes.
let's continue introducing Nagargoje, sir.
It's a great pleasure to introduce Mr. Shridhar Nagargoje, sir. He is a member of English Language Committee, Balbharti, Pune. And we are very fortunate that he has the experience right from the first standard to 12th standard, 12th standard course books. He is subject assistant at the Diet Ambajogai Bid. Previously, he was the ZP teacher, ZP high school teacher. He is a well-known motivational speaker. At the same time, he is a state level master trainer and mentor. He has published and presented papers in the national and international conferences, and we are very fortunate that we are going to listen Nagargoje sir. So over to Nagargoje sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sharad sir. This is the last that you call section of writing skill and skill development. We have covered near about 55 marks: language study, textual passages, poetry section, non-textual passages, and summary writing. Now we are thinking about the writing skill. When you think about the writing skill, when we teach writing skill to our students, we have to think the three components of writing. Basic. As a teacher, as a learner, we have to think about the three basic components of writing. The one is a grammatical skill. Means the person who wants to write something, he must be good in constructing sentences. He has to construct the sentences grammatically correct. Second thing, that is a compositional skill, because he has that practice of composing some things. One example we have observed many times, because some people are the good storytellers. Why they can tell the story and they captivate the mind of the listeners? Because they have a compositional skill of that language. So in a writing also, composing ideas, putting ideas together with the help of the correct words and put them in effective manner and fluent manner. And the last one, that is a domain knowledge, or we can say that subject knowledge, content knowledge. If we have a subject knowledge of that thing, we can write on that topic. Otherwise, we can't. For example, we are good in writing and we are good in speaking. But if anyone asks to us, so write an essay on augmented reality. Can we write essay on augmented reality? If we don't know the concept of augmented reality, we can't write anything about it. If someone asks to write boot and reboot in computing, so if we know only concept in a 1 or 2 lines, can we write a long essay on that topic? Can't. Why? Because though we are good in a grammar, though we have a compositional skill, but we don't have a domain knowledge. So for our students, when we teach anything, we should concentrate on these 3 ideas. So we will take a look on the different writing activities in our activity sheet. Sharad sir, the first the activity in the writing skill, that is a letter writing. Sharad sir, please move. Okay, letter writing, formal and informal. When you think about any writing, we have a different form of writing or layout of the writing, and that the presentation of writing. In letter writing, we have formal and informal writing. These are the technical aspects, but we have to teach our students. So how to write address, how to write a salutation, how to write a subject and introduction of the letter, and its places are fixed in the paper. We know the black format I'm not talking about, only I'm talking about the address, because address is already given in the activity sheet and they have to write it. The next is a body or the main part of the letter, that is the elaboration of the given situation, subject, and use additional points. We know in activity sheet sometimes the appeal is given, sometimes invitation is given, sometimes some situation is given, sometimes news is given, sometimes some instructions are given, or sometimes something is given, that situation is given, because we are not asking them to write anything blank. We have given some situation, and on that situation they have to write the letter. So that's why they have to understand the situation first. Means if they are a good reader, they can understand that situation. And the last point, the proper conclusion and layout. When you write anything, when you speak, the listener and the reader should understand the speaker has completed his thoughts, because every writing has its own complete idea. You can begin with the first paragraph, in a second paragraph you can elaborate it, and the last paragraph or the maybe the next one paragraph we have to conclude with the proper ideas and proper words. So when a reader will read the letter, so the examiner will understand that he has completed his own thoughts and ideas through his letter writing. Next, Sharad sir. Okay, sir, right. This is one activity we have taken from the latest activity sheet. Suppose you are Anand or Anandi Ravindra Jadhav. Sometimes only name is given in activity sheet. Sometimes the name and address is given. If only name is given, you have to write your own imaginary address to give that the name of the person. You can choose your own. If the address is given, so do not write other ideas, address for them. The informal letter, write a letter to your friend to join Swachh Bharat Abhiyan organized by village, add your own points. When you think about that, the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, that is campaign, and your village has organized, and you have to write a letter to your friend. So when you think about the write a letter friend, so how to begin with the letter to friend, that is important thing. Second, if the letter is written to your elder brother or elder sisters, they will write differently. So Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the same concept is given in formal letter and informal letter, but the letter is written to whom, that the persons are different. In the second, that is a formal letter, write a letter to a headmaster requesting him to take part in a clean school and playground compilation Swachh Bharat Abhiyan organized by the village at your own points. The same that campaign is organized by the village, but the one letter is written to a friend and another letter is written to a headmaster. Suppose Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the points are given there. We will go for that point. So when they read the situation, the topic, then they can go for the points. Now, these are some points. This is one type of advertisement. Village Sarola organizes Swachh Bharat Abhiyan 2nd October to 9th October. So when our students understand the situation, they can gather ideas in their mind. We know when we read something, when we listen something, some ideas are created, ideas are gathered in our mind, and we put those ideas in words. So these are some points, and they can read these points and understand some rough draft in mind. Because when we are at home, so we can write a rough draft on the paper, but in examination, there is no time to write a rough draft. Actually, we cannot write anything that at the 11th stage. Sir, please. So these points, they have to think about that and organize some ideas in your mind. Another thing, some students can do that. They can write 1 or 2 lines about each and every point. So in our school, we can give them time to think about those points and at least write 1 line. At the beginning, if they write 1 line of each point, it's good. After that, the same points we will give to them and ask them to write 2 lines of each point. In this way, we can develop the writing skill, because writing skill is the last skill in language learning. And if the person become a good writer, that means he is the competent in that language. So that's why we can use those points. For example, some points are not understood by the students. So what will they do? So they can skip sometimes, or they can gauge the meaning of that point by reading the previous point and reading by the next points. So we can use this. Next. Okay. The 5th B, that is a dialogue writing or a drafting a speech. So in a dialogue writing, the first prepare a dialogue from the jumbled sentence. So how can we give the practice then? If we ask them to read chit chat activities and write the answers of chit chat activities in their notebook, they can get the connection between answer and the questions. Because in the first activity, the jumble orders are there, 2 questions are there, and 2 answers are there. 1 question is directly correlate with the answer, but second question is related to the next question. But what happens, sometimes they miss the first question. What will happen? Automatically they miss the second question also, because this is a sequence of like as our buttons of the shirts. If you miss the first button, we all miss all the buttons. So if you put the first responses wrongly for the first questions, so automatically we will not get the next correct question to the answers. That's why they should understand the question first. For example, how do you spend your leisure time and what kind of books do you like? These are 2 questions. So they should think about which question should come first, because in a speaking, we start our speaking with some that starting questions. For example, how do you spend your leisure time and what kind of books do you like? So definitely our students will understand the how do you spend your leisure time. This is the first question, and the response is that because the words are different from the question and answer. Because in question, I like to read in my free times. In the question, the leisure time is word used, and in answer, free time is word used. So we can teach our students. Sometimes the examiner, the paper setter, do not use the same words. The paper setter can use the different words. So we should understand the different meaning of that word. And if you understand the first question and answer correct, automatically they get the next question, next activity. This is for 1 mark. Complete the dialogue. This is open-ended activity. So they can read the 2 questions again and they have to respond appropriately. Where did you go for picnic recently? And the second, why did you select that picnic spot? Recently, this is the funny question in the pandemic situation, because recently we hadn't go anywhere. Recently, they can write recently go for school as a picnic after 8, 9 months. So they can write the questions, where did you go for picnic and why? The first question, it is easy because it is a factual. They can write the name of anything. But the second is giving the opinion, that we call reason. Why did you select that picnic spot? In the second question, the student should think more. So in this way, you can select 2 questions. Those questions are sequential, depending each other, and they can write. So again, we can select some questions from the chit chat activity or warming up activity, or we can give a set of questions for them and ask them to write the dialogue writing. So in this way, we can complete A1 activity and B activity for 1 and 1 marks. Next. This is a challenging activity in a writing skill. That is a dialogue writing, but write a dialogue on given topic or given situation. Here the situation is given, that is the importance of games, and that the dialogue is you and your friend, means you are talking about the importance of the game, and the condition is given there should be 3 meaningful exchanges. 3 meaningful exchanges means the meaningful exchanges of the theme. Apart from meaningful exchanges of the theme, the initial part, the initiating the discussion or the dialogue writing, and the appropriate ending, they should be 2 dialogues are there. Means when you think about the 3 into 2, 6 lines, and the beginning 2, because we never asked anything directly to the theme. We speak casually, how are you, where are you going, what are you doing, so very simple things, and the response is there, and we then come to the importance of the games. Most of the students, they have written the 3 meaningful exchanges, not more than that. So what will happen, they think that I have written 3, I have completed 3 activities and I hadn't get the marks. Why? Because they did not know the expectation of the board pattern. So they should write 3 meaningful exchanges and the proper beginning and proper ending. So that is a dialogue writing. And the next question, the next activity is or for the dialogue writing. If some students feel that drafting a speech, that is a good for me, so next, drafting a speech, so we can give practice of drafting a speech also. This is a activity which is asked in the latest activity sheet on 26th November for the examination. Imagine your school has organized Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign. On this occasion, you are asked to deliver a speech on importance of girls' education. Sometimes some students are in very that hurry. The haste makes waste, and they read only Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, and they feel that the topic is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. They do not come to the importance of girls' education. If 2 things are given in the situation or in the activity, we should ask our students to read the activity carefully and understand what is asked to write, because your topic is importance of girls' education and the campaign is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. If you have written Beti Padhao Beti Bachao and given the title of that, what will happen? Though your speech is right, but the students will not get the marks. So they should understand the activity first, then the program's name is different there, and the topics which is given for the delivering speech, that is important. In that drafting a speech, the overall the points elaboration is that same, but the beginning and the ending and the language of appealing is totally different. So we should give some examples of drafting a speech, how to begin with the speech, how to use sentences as someone is speaking and other people are listening to him, and we have to draft the speech. If they have read few drafts of the speech, because we have an example in our textbook, let's mark LS Satyarthi. If they have taken 2 or 3 paragraphs and if they understand the language, let's begin, let's ask, who doesn't know? So these are some appealing language in the drafting a speech, and if they have familiar with those sentences or constructions, they can elaborate the given topic and the given situation also. Next, information transfer, verbal to non-verbal and non-verbal to verbal, because we are living in the 21st century and we have a lot of information, but how to gather the information, how to transfer the information one format to another format. And we have the major format, that one format is a verbal format and another is a non-verbal format, and our students should understand both formats. That's why we have given 2 activities, verbal and non-verbal. Only verbal for information, what will happen? They will never understand the graphs, charts and diagrams, and they will be fail to understand the matter which is covered most of the things in a graph also. Some information is always available in only a non-verbal form. But how to understand that form? That's why we have given this activity, information transfer. This information transfer is a non-verbal to verbal. Only points are given and the comparison between the two personalities, their aspects are there. Yam Raja and D Gaja, those two persons and their aspects are there. 7 aspects are there. If they think about the 7 aspects and they compare to each other, they can compare two personalities or they can understand the contrast between them. They can use their own language also. For example, age. If our students are we can say not familiar with writing, so how to teach them writing? Mr. Gaja, Mr. Yam Raja is 50 years old. So we have added only 2 words, is and old. In a second sentence, if our students are able to frame the first sentence correct, he will write the second sentence correct also. They can make 2 separate paragraphs, no doubt. But if they can frame the sketch of the Yam Raja with the help of 7 points, the students are very familiar to write the D Gajas because he has known the constructing sentences of all these things. So we can give some activities to them and frame sentences. While framing sentence, if they have any problems, we can't say this is the one particular problem of students. The students' problems are different at different stages because their vocabulary, sometimes they have a less vocabulary, sometimes they have a vocabulary but constructions are wrong, sometimes their word order is wrong, sometimes they use the wrong sentence, wrong tenses, sometimes they use present tense, sometimes they use the past tense. The information transfer that is given in always in a present form because that information is expected to present in a present tense. So if they have such type of errors or mistakes in the writing, so we can give them a constructive feedback, and in this way we develop the writing skill to non-verbal to verbal form. Next, Sharad sir, next. Information transfer verbal to non-verbal. Actually, our whole book is the example of verbal to non-verbal. Means our literary pieces, apart from literary pieces, some informative passages are there. And that informative passages are the good example of verbal to non-verbal. So we ask them to read information given below and represent it in form of a diagram given suitable title. So we can take some example. For example, an epitome of courage. If we ask them to take the first paragraph from the epitome of courage, so can you make a diagram? Can you make your own presentation verbal to non-verbal? So definitely they will write 2 words, 300 back, Galileo, and 300 years next. So that is a Stephen Hawking. So one is a death and another is a birth. There is a difference between, okay? Both are the scientists. So they can understand some similarity and some differences from the same information. In a second paragraph, what is there in that lesson? So everywhere we can ask, one paragraph is there, at the age of 70, something happened in his life, right? So before that, he was very normal child. But that's one passage is there. It is talking about only the courage. What is courage? So they think about the verbal information and try to put that information in a non-verbal form. And we have asked only 4 forms are there. The first is chart, tree diagram, flow chart, do's and don'ts. So at first we have to explain these 4 forms of non-verbal form. There are different non-verbal forms are there, but we have chosen only 4 for the 10 standards. If they are familiar with the chart or tree diagram, flow chart and do's and don'ts, because in our activity sheet we asked to transform this information in a flow chart. If you don't know the flow chart, they will not transform that information in that flow. So they should know the different forms. That's why we have to give some examples for them, ready-made examples we can ask. We can take the examples from our previous activity sheets and that will help our students. Next. expand the theme, news report, and developing a story. In a news report, news headline is given and some points are given, and students are expected to write a news report on given the news headline. Abhinav School celebrates Teachers Day. This is a news headline, and students are expected to write the news report, not the news. The news, that thing has happened, that incidents happen, and the one person is narrated it. When we narrate something, we narrate in as a third person, and everything is happened already. So we use the past, that you call passive constructions. So they should know how to write the incidents, the thing, all these things happen. But again, they have to write the sequence of that, the headline. Already headline is given. After headline, again they have to write headline. The headline is given an activity sheet, and they are not writing the headline. What will happen? They will not get the full credit. That's why they have to again write the headline. Then date line. We can take some newspapers from the various newspapers in our classroom also, and we can ask them to read some news, the brief news, not the long news also, and we ask them to what is the structure of every news. The date line is there, date is there. In after date line, there is a lead line, means that news is telling something, because some news are the fake news, some news are good news, some news are bad news, because we are talking about the real news in the newspaper. In our activity sheet, the fake news will be not given, the bad news or sad news or very unrealistic news will not ask in our activity sheet, no doubt. But in reality, our students should know there are different types of news are published in the newspaper, and they have written in the same format. The formats are there. So lead line that leads to the news, and then the one paragraph they should write the body of the report. So what will happen? What did happen in particular that program? For example, Abhinav School celebrates Teachers Day. So on that particular day, on 5th September, the Abhinav School celebrates the Teachers Day, and our teachers are celebrated or felicitated by the guests and all these things. But actually what happened on that day, that is important. And the last is a conclusion of the that news that is expected in our news report. Next, story writing or developing a writing. In this expand the theme, developing a story with the help of given beginning or ending. In this activity, ending is given, not beginning, and we have to write the beginning. What is ending? And finally they reach the school. Then we have to think the flashback. So how can we start this story and finally they reach the story? Means it has different beginnings. Different beginnings. The students can write. So 1 or 2 sessions we can give a one end and ask them what will be the beginning of the that you call story. Because our students and we also we have a traditional thoughts. Every story has the same beginning and every story has a different, the same ending, but not every story we can reconstruct again, we can reframe again, we can use our own ideas, and they have to write, because it is expected that they have to use their creativity in writing a story. That story may be imaginary, but sometimes narrating experience, that is correct. But in this activity sheet, we ask only develop a story to given giving ending or the beginning, and they have to suggest a suitable title for that story, because the story's theme is totally depend on the incidents and the happenings of the story. So every story they have to think about the initial stage, beginning, that is the setting of the story. Second thing, the relation, what happened next, the sequence of the events, then some problems or some challenge in their story, then they have to conclusion, and after at the end is there, for example, and finally they reach the school. Suppose they have started their journey with the bus and bus punctured, or there is a something on the road, morcha or something is there, and and they stayed there for 3 hours. So in this way they elaborate everything, and finally one of the students called to the headmaster or the class teacher, and they came to there and they bring them to the school. So in this way you can write your own story. The last activity, that is the last section of this activity sheet, skill development. We know translation skill. Grammar and translation methodology is eradicated from our teaching learning process, no doubt. But translation is a skill and it is very useful for the next generation. So translate the following words in your medium of instructions. So how can our students prepare themselves? We ask them to take some words from every lesson. Which words? The content words. Which words have a particular meaning, exact meaning, or that meaning is that we call, if the words we use in isolation, that has a meaning, because some words the meaning is different in context, but some words are isolated. For example, table. The table has a different meaning, no doubt, or great, or we can holiday. So these words are the content words. These are not the structural words, and they can take out some content words from the lesson. So in this way they can practice themselves and they translate into their instruction of mother tongues, and they have option also. Next activity, translate the following sentences in your mother tongue. Again, they can find some sentences, they can read the lesson and try to translate in their mind. The first the sentence is from our pledge. All Indians are my brothers and sisters. Very simple. And remaining 3 sentences are different from the first one. Wish you all the best. Speak clearly and confidently. Keep the home and clean. When you teach translation of the sentences, we put their notice to the different structure of the sentences. Means we give some example of assertive sentences, some questions, some imperative sentences, some wishes also, and some exclamatory sentences also. Because every examiner or paper setters, they can frame the different activities. In this activity, the paper setter has set 2 types of sentences. The one sentence is a statement or assertive sentence. Remaining 2 are the imperative sentence. So if you tell your students these 3 types of sentences, the form of the sentences, automatically they understand the function of the sentences, because each and every sentence function is specific. For example, the function of the assertive sentence, that is only declare something, assert something, so tell something. The function of the imperative sentence, that may be request or order or a wish. The function of the question, by asking some, seeking information. That the function of the exclamatory sentence, that has expressed your ideas suddenly. So if they know the functions and the forms of the sentences, they understand how to translate any unknown or unfamiliar sentence. Okay, next. The last activity, translate the following proverbs. It has a figurative meaning, proverbs. So 2 proverbs are given. So we can give them some proverbs, a list of some proverbs, and we can ask them in our exercise also, 5 marks exercise also. We ask them to write 20 or 50 proverbs, and they translate into the mother tongue. So in this way, they can complete their project work, or they can complete their exercise homework for 5 marks also, and it will help for our translation. So these are some few, I will not say guidelines, but these are the directions to you. And for the next 100 days, what will happen? End of the session, so we will take some takeaway tips. What did you learn from this session or workshop? Is it really beneficial for the students, teachers, and the parents? So how can we use this presentation for our students' practice? Because we have a limited time and we have to complete it. Thank you from my side. because it's 7:10, and I think I have taken 5 minutes extra. If questions are there, so we will take questions. Thank you. Prashant sir.
Yes, sir. Some questions have on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between lead line and body of news? Please guide me in detail.
Okay. Thank you. Lead line means that leads to the news, because that line can tell that news is about the celebration of something. The news is about something happened, but the body of the news, that is complete idea of what happened there, that report, that approach, that can go to the that can bridge the headline and the body, that is lead line.
Yes. Okay, sir. Next question is related to information transfer. Can students compare both persons in one paragraph?
In one paragraph?
Yes.
Okay. If the students compare without any paragraphs, when you write anything in a writing is a complete idea. What is writing? What is the smallest unit of writing? The paragraph is the smallest unit of writing. That's why you will find everywhere paragraphs, because one paragraph can give the clear idea of your thoughts and ideas. If you write everything without paragraphs, what will happen? Though you have a clear, but the reader will not understand. That's why students should write in a paragraph format, different paragraphs.
Okay, sir. Next question is about related to letter writing. Some students write only address, date, subject, salutation, and proper closing without body.
Okay.
Can we credit them marks assigned for it?
Yeah. So you can talk to other moderator. because it happens, no doubt. Because some students are unable to write the body.
Yes.
But as per our pattern, some examiner, the paper checker, they can give the marks 1 or half mark for the beginning and salutation. But it is expected that students should write something in a body.
Yes.
Because our intention is that they should not write only the format, only address and closing, and without body. What will happen? Our expectation is that, because if you write anywhere application, if you have written the name of the person to whom you are writing, and you haven't written anything in your application, can they accept your application? No. So at least they should use some the points which is given in the activity sheet. We have to tell our students, do not put or keep blank the body of the letter. They should write something, at least 1 or 2 lines.
Yes, sir. One question is for Sharad Pandhare, sir. It is related to poem. Are the students expected to write appreciation in tabular form or in full sentences?
We have already covered this question, because they should write point wise, no?
Yes.
Hi. If the students are going to write only points, then that time also it should be considered, but it will be better they will write in full sentence.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, questions are over.
Okay. Thank you, Prashant sir. Thank you, Gajendra Mugale sir, Sharad
very
Pandhare sir, and
much,
Varsha Ghorpade ma'am for contributing themselves for this session. And once again, I am very thankful to Shikshan Vikas Manch, आदरणीय काळपांडे सर, आदरणीय रॉय मॅडम आणि बाकी संपूर्ण टीम. Though I am not expressing gratitude to all by giving the name of all people, but I have the respect towards them. Thank you for attending, all my dear friends all over Maharashtra, and best wishes for next 100 days.
Thank you, Nagargoje sir, to you too. As you have covered 25 marks, it was very much difficult for each and every teacher to deal with writing skill and skill development. You covered each and every point in a very nice and systematic manner. You really inspired our teachers, and really, I'm going to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Kalpande, sir.
सर नसतील नसतील
आहेत sir.
Hi, sir.
आहेत सर.
Roy madam,
हा बोला बोला मग
can you conclude with your
नो नो
valuable
प्लीज
words?
नो प्लीज कैरी ऑन यू हैव डन अ वंडरफul job
Okay,
and
thank you, ma'am.
it was
Our
an effective
session is over
session.
here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, all my dear friends and the backbone of शिक्षण विकास मंच यशवंतराव चव्हाण प्रतिष्ठान and मुख्याध्यापक महामंडळ पुणे जिल्हा मुख्याध्यापक संघ. Thank you.
And
No, please carry on. You have done a wonderful job.